Hello and welcome to the Ham Radio Crash Course. Welcome to Saturday. Today, we're having a good old battle royale. No, not a battle royale. A grudge match. A slugfest? I don't know. It's actually going to be good for both radios. Today, we're going to be doing a comparison between the Elecraft KX2 and the Lab 599 Discovery TX-500. Every time I say that, I still don't know the right direction that all those words are supposed to go in. But two QRP radios, glorious evening, Dwayne says. Yes, indeed, but glorious QRP radios as well. We're going to do a bit of a comparison, not just on their feature set, but just a little bit of how they function on the air, and we're going to look for some signals and do a little A-B comparison to the best of our ability, and I'll explain why testing these radios side by side could be a little bit problematic, but we will attempt to do it anyway. Enjoy the memes as we get started. Thank you so much. Dr. Dingus, unfortunately, that will not be the answer today, but appreciate you being in the chat there, bud. It is definitely a please copy type of evening, and welcome to Kyle A0Z. All right, let's go ahead and get things started. Hey, everybody. Thanks for taking a bit of your time out of your day here on Saturday. We're going to be talking about one of my favorite radios, but I got to say, after doing, a bit of the pre-work, I don't just go live. Generally, I have to do hours of pre-work. And I got to say, I've been very pleasantly surprised by one of these radios. You could probably guess which one I'm talking about here. But yeah, I'm... Let me just say, no matter how we end up with this video, both are good. You should feel happy with having either one of these radios, from my point of view. There are some of you who obviously need one over the other, but let's just get that out of the way right in the beginning. I have both, says... Oh, hey, what's up? It's Joshua. So Joshua's the guy who's got the Etsy store with the knee board that I really like. Tuftilin. Tuftilin? Is that right? A lot of people saying they have both. Look at, and Evan's got both, and he's also got a 5-band mountain topper. Or sorry, that's a 4-band mountain topper in his avatar, so that's nice. So what the heck are we talking about? By the way, guys, thanks for watching. Again, I appreciate it. We're rolling up into the last Saturday of this month, which means next week is going to be the Patron Picks episode. All the patrons or the producer level patrons get together and they get to have a little vote-see on what we're going to be talking about next week. So if you would like to be involved in that, go check out the Patreon, which is linked in the description. By the way, there's a ton of links in the description for things that we're going to be talking about today as we go through some of this stuff, because unfortunately, both of these radios aren't like completely good to go right out of the box. The Elecraft more so, but that's with spending more money. We're going to get into it, I promise. But, yeah. All right. If you'd like to help support the Ham Radio Crash Course, aside from Patreon, which is probably the best way, but if you'd like to get a shirt out of it or something to go along with your ham radio addiction, make sure to go check out hamtactical.com, because maybe you're a G90 owner and you need to, in case of emergency, grab G90 and go in a woods. So, speaking of G90s, I get this every time I do a video like this. I did a 705 versus the KX2. I did, one of these videos, and I get a lot of people that are like, "Why are these radios so expensive? Why are there so much money?" Well, if this is too much, and yeah, these are expensive QRP radios. I totally can understand that. Go take my link to Radioddity. You'll get a coupon, and you can get yourself a G90 over there. And that's what I tell you to go do, is go get yourself a G90 or a 6100. These are cheaper QRP radios that will work for what you want to do. So, take the link in the description if you want to do that. All right, what are we talking about? The Discovery TX-500 transceiver. Okay, now I know the order. See, I just needed to go to the website. Lab 599 or 599 Lab. See, they've even got it twisted up there. They are the creators of this. This is a Russian-made radio, right? So you can get it in a couple of different international suppliers, Ham Radio Outlet being one of them. They have it. And what are we comparing that to? We're comparing it to the QRP darling that is the KX2. I have both these radios. I feel it would be difficult to do a comparison like this if not for having them in your person. Now, a quick reality check: the Lab 599 is coming in more expensive at around $1,150. That's about what you're going to pay stateside, and you can see Ham Radio Outlet actually doesn't have a ton of them because there's not a lot of green check marks there. So keep that in mind as well. They are still suffering from some import taxation and some other stuff due to the fun, I guess that you could say, the not so fun that's happening over in Russia and that whole part of the world. My heart goes out to all the people that are suffering in that area, but yeah, this is the reality of it, is that you're going to see impacts. I remember that this radio used to be cheaper than it is listing now. So yeah. Hey guys, by the way, if you would like to learn more about ham radio, but you keep getting stuck and you don't know what to do, well, today's show topic is going to be about these two radios, but if you'd like to follow us on over to Discord, we do an after chat, which is a live Q&A session where we take your questions live and do our best to answer them. We have a pretty good track record of answering people too. So if you've got questions even from today's episode, follow us on over there because that's where we'll be answering them. All right. Now, the thing to remember about the Elecraft, and I'm going to go into the pros, cons, all that stuff, is that the cost of this radio actually vary considerably. It starts out at $999, but that's just a bare bones radio. No battery, no microphone, just the radio, right? Once you go to the shack-in-a-box configuration, well, it jumps up to $1,600. So there's actually quite a major difference in what you get out of the box here. And the shack-in-the-box includes the transceiver with the antenna tuner. That is an option. The battery charger for charging the lithium-ion battery, the battery pack that goes in the radio, although you can use it externally. They also have a microphone that is very good that comes along with it, but those are all options that you can add too. You don't have to buy them. If you're a CW guy, you might not need a microphone at all, but keep that in mind because it does get expensive. So here's going to be the setup for this whole thing, and I've got a couple of more points I want to get, but here's our two participants of this, and I want you to just take a look at them while they sit. The Elecraft is here on the bottom. Size comparison, we'll do a bit of that as well. Both of them have power connection to DC, to my power supply. But just looking at them, right, you obviously get a very different kind of feel for what they're capable of, what their user operation kind of looks like. And obviously you can already tell with the Lab 599 Discovery that you just have more stuff coming off of it. And spoiler alert, that's my biggest con that we'll get into. Not necessarily a horrible thing, but it's definitely something you need to keep in mind. With that said, and yeah, we'll be coming back for some audio tests and some other fun stuff as we go along. I did want to just speed things along a little bit, and I did some of the maths, if you will, right up the top. So power draw, power output, that kind of stuff. So we're going to spend some more time with the radios, not so much just diving into just doing repetitive power tests. So you can trust me if you want, but that's the reality of this. So, all right. So the feature set here. See, I got my first typo. This is incorrect. This is actually a 6-meter ratio. So there's my correction. No more corrections needed. They'll all be perfect from here on out. All my slides will be the best. All right, so I already mentioned the prices for the KX2 go up considerably, about $1,000 up to $6. Yeah, isn't it not 160? Well, you know what? Maybe I got two mistakes. Thought I didn't. 1.8. Ta-da. Then why? Oh, it doesn't transmit on it. 120? 160, I mean? 160? It doesn't transmit there? It's just a receiver? We can test this. We can see this live. Let's see. Hold on. Want a boneheaded thing to get stopped on immediately, but let's look. Come on now. 80 through 10. You got it. Good call. Good call, Don. Keep me honest. Good job. Hold on. Now I got to make a quick edit. So that's something, though. That's important for some people. I don't know who that is that's doing QRP on 160. But they're out there. I'm sure of it. The 6 is more of an issue for me, but neither here nor there. All right, so 80 through 10 meters for the KX2. There's also a general coverage receiver for shortwave stations, and it does pretty well. I've actually used it in that capacity before. You get about 10 watt advertised output in my testing. About 9 watts is what I get on a fully charged battery. There is an internal battery option, meaning you can put an internal battery in it. You can also run an external battery. There also is a charging chip for internally charging the battery, which I'm doing. I'll show you what I'm doing here. But if you don't go with that internal charging option, you actually have to remove the lithium-ion battery from the radio to charge it, and then you put it back in, right? Something to keep in mind. TX-500 retails at about $11.50, as I mentioned, 160 meters through 6-meter coverage. It's also a general coverage receiver, and it has a mode or a band. If you push the band button, it'll take you up to AM broadcast, or you could just tune around. The upside with using one or the other as a general coverage receiver is that the Elecraft, although it has kind of a clunky navigation for entering frequency input, it does have that, and it's a little bit easier to input a frequency than is the TX-500. It is all mode. Both of these are all mode. They are the TX-500 is weather resistant, meaning like literally it can get wet, like it can actually be, I believe, submerged up to a couple of feet. And then it has a built-in SWR meter. Okay, so that's the on-paper stuff. As much as I care about that, I care more about what we're going to do for demonstrating how these two radios function. All right, here was my tests. There are stated power draws, and there are, what you can actually see when you do your own testing. So the KX2, I got about 9 watts output on the different bands that I was transmitting on. This was using Morse code. We can do a test if we'd like to during the after chat for AM single sideband. AM is going to be a bit less, but this is just kind of a bullet point. The TX-500 got about 13.6 watts output, and the draw on transmit was commensurate to that. So if you can see, while the received draw of the TX-500 is very low, 1.1 in my case, versus the received draw of the KX2, which was 0.19, the draw on transmit was a bit higher, likely because we were putting out a bit more watts. Now, what does this all translate into? For those of you that might be new with this kind of stuff, what this is basically saying is that while you get about 10 watts output, the TX-500 is generally going to run longer when you just use it as a receiver. It's going to be a bit more miserly with how it's going to use your battery that you put on it. So you might be able to get away with a little bit less battery. Keep in mind the KX2 is no slouch in this department either. Those are still both very good numbers. So this is neither like a win nor lose, but I put the little green on there just as an FYI. And big thank you to Ham Radio Wilderness with Frank. Already a great show. Thanks so much. Hey, as long as it's accurate, I appreciate that sometimes we're going to have mistakes on some of this stuff, but that's my bad for my copying over. So here are these are my pros and cons. Again, we're just going to hit these up front so you get like a baseline of where I'm coming from, because you're going to be different than me. Maybe these things don't matter to you, but they're somewhat important to me. And then we're going to go play around with the radio. So the pros. So the pro for me on the KX2, I went with the battery and the antenna tuner in the radio. Now, I did not pay $1,600 for mine. I paid probably $1,200 in 2019 at Hamvention. That is where I bought my KX2. I got the shack in the box, the whole kit, that whole thing. It was about $1,200. So good deal. Yeah, included power, included tuner, all those things. Good stuff. The pros for me are it generally packs up pretty small. I can take it on the go very easily. I can throw it into pretty much any bag with very little else other than my little low pro camera bag that I'm now using, the new low pro bag, to kind of put it all together. I have a bag for the Lab 599, but it's, I don't know. I'll show you my bags in a second. And by the way, I have links to them in the description as well. The internal charging is a huge plus for me, but the KX2 didn't have that for very long. It's only a new update that got that internal charging module. Before that point, you'd have to take the battery out or leave the battery out and just plug in the external DC port to run it, which for a lot of people is fine, but for me, I kind of want the ability to have it all just in the radio. I can grab, I can go and, do the whole thing. Now, it's a good performer, but some of the cons are there's no sound card interface, meaning that you have to have a 2-cable solution, meaning you're going to have to likely have a digital connection for serial and another connection for audio for doing digital modes. This radio is kind of that older generation where USB ports on radios were not like a thing. That kind of was something that came along with the ICOM IC705 and the 6100 now from Xiegu, among others that have, a USB port that gives you one cable solution for doing digital modes. By the way, both radios don't have that slick of a solution for doing digital modes. FYI, they both work well, though. You'll have to trust me on that one because I think we're at the point now, if I tell you it works on WSJ-TX and it does digital modes, you should probably just believe me. I think at this point, it's not so much as a novelty to do digital modes as it once was. Now, for me, the KX2 feels sort of flimsy. There are entryways into the body of the radio, and truly, the radio itself is just 2 screws on the bottom of it that is keeping the bottom from just falling out and the battery coming out. And back before you had this internal charging option, you could be out in the field and you wanted to swap batteries, or you were going to do something, you had a DC source out and you wanted to charge a battery that was inside, or whatever. You'd have to open up the back of it in the field, which was never really a good idea. So a lot of people would just use the external, and they'd run the battery until it was dry on the inside, and then they'd just go to the external battery, which again is fine, but not the coolest thing. It gets hot on digital modes, which is going to be one of the upgrades we'll talk about here towards the end, because I did actually purchase a heatsink that goes on the right side, and it does help somewhat manage doing things like JS8 call and FT8. So the interface is a mess, and I mean the user interface. From my point of view, it's kind of a kludgy radio that really rewards you for memorizing how you navigate around it. I will show you what I mean. There are many single-click, hold clicks, deep menu presses, scrolling around, all that tomfoolery that can go with the radio that, to me, if I put it down for a little while and then come back to it, I'm always kind of like, okay, this is not a great experience. So on the other hand, the TX-500, I gotta say, I did firmware upgrades for both of these. I usually keep the KX2 firmware upgraded. I don't know that they did some change to the TX-500, but the receiver on that radio was a shocker today. I was actually hearing a station on 10 meters. It was a POTA station that I made a contact with, a man and his son out in the field. I made the contact with my 7610, but I was actually hearing the station better on the TX-500 than my 7610, and even better than the KX2. I was very impressed. I don't know if this radio has been tested is on the Sherwood report yet, but I would be curious what the results are on it. It was fantastic, very surprising. And since the con, I'm going to get to the con. I'm going to hit the con with a pro, okay? There's no speaker built into the radio, the TX-500. You have to use earbuds, or you have to use a dongle to attach a speaker to it, which is what I'll be doing. I'll be using a non-amplified speaker to do the demonstrations today. The driver for the speaker, for the headphones, whatever, in the TX-500 is very strong. That is a downside, though, that you just don't have a speaker on it. Why? Well, because it can probably go under water. That's probably why. Has a nice pan adapter for what it is. It's better than the KX2, which has none. I find that pretty helpful. It's a good balance of physical and on-screen controls, and by what I mean there is there are useful buttons that are laid out in a way that makes sense, but then also enough of the deeper menus that you seldom need to go into to do things like leave your backlight on a little bit longer, or make it a bit brighter, that kind of thing, versus the on-screen controls for controlling the radio. Some things that you have to do on the KX2, like bypassing the tuner, changing your mode, your paddle mode from just hand controlled to iambic, that all has to go into the deeper menu, which is not a fun setup to deal with. We'll show that on the air. Cons, though, positive, built like a tank. I don't think anybody's surprised by that. The cons, though, of the TX-500, lots of wires, right? There's like a dongle for everything, and unless you're going with kind of a specific like loadout, you're kind of gonna bring like extra stuff along. There's really no way around that. You're gonna need a battery. If you're not using a resonant antenna, you're gonna need a tuner. You're going to need a dongle to connect your own microphone or speaker or headset or whatever, or you're gonna have to use the microphone that comes with it. Right? There's these handoffs that you have to make. Is it like a problem? No, but it's you'll see when I get to it. There's nothing internal without expensive upgrades, and I'll show what those expensive upgrades are in a second. And it's a 2-wire interface as well. Now, I will show it just before we go straight to the tabletop so everybody can understand here, but let's go back to the TX-500 website. They are now making these accessory modules, right? So a battery pack, they call it the BP500. They also have a amplifier that slaps onto the back of that. None of these are cheap. These are very expensive. And so if you wanted to add an internal battery so that you could have your Lab 599 Discovery go in the field with you, and what really looks nice, it looks like a really slick setup. This is the backside. Note the kickstands. Nice kickstands, right? Really cool stuff. Like it looks really good, and it uses, what are these, 18650 batteries? Yeah. And it seamlessly connects with these little pads on the left side there into the radio. Very expensive though. Very cool, very expensive, right? Now, given the experience that I've had with the Lab 599 recently, I'm thinking about that battery pack, but we'll see. We'll see. Depends on how much life that battery pack gives you. I'd be curious. If somebody has one of those, let me know in the chat. Now, for everybody watching, liking that 705 more and more. Yeah, so they are all good radios. If you go back, I did a versus video, 705 versus KX2. And I think the nudge might have gone to the 705 just for convenience. For me, you guys had your own votes, and that's, totally fine. But for me, I end up taking the 705 out in the field more. It's only when I need something like ultra portable that I end up taking the KX2 most often, because again, you can see the size of it so small. All right, and I think I got one more slide here. Yeah, so we're going to do a couple of things here. We're going to do a receiver test using the Tiny SA Ultra for audio. This is a fun one. This will give you and I'm not sure would, not at all, but we can do a comparison, an A/B comparison using the same test equipment to let us know which one is generally the hotter receiver. Hot receiver is good here. It means you can hear down into the noise further. Now, let's see. I saw a comment from one Mr. K6ARK. TX-500 is decent on receive, but it suffers more in noise. I thought it was marked improvement, and I'm a very noisy area, and the receiver was way better. That's a wrong term. It was better than the KX2, even in my noisy environment. But yeah. Battery pack is user supplied 18650, so you got to go spend a money. Oh my goodness. Makes it flexible. See, so you're going to pay a lot for that thing, and then you're going to have to then go buy batteries. What a nightmare that is, right? That seems pretty expensive. Complaints about cables in this comparison is moot. I 100% disagree with you. You may believe it's moot, but I don't believe it's moot. Cabling is what you're going to have to deal with when you are out doing QRP. If you want to go deploy and do QRP and all that stuff, that's the stuff you're going to have to worry about. It's the stuff that you're going to have to pack in your bag. It's the stuff that you're going to have to do all your fun stuff with. It may not bother you, bothers me, so I'm going to keep talking about it. You can ignore it, but there you go. It's ham. Ham is expensive. Go get yourself a G90. It's not as expensive. Every cable has an end, whether it's RJ45. Yeah, so the cabling system on the Discovery is very good. It's nice, but it's just like a lot of them. Yeah. All right, very good. So here's what we're going to do. I have one of these radios. Looks like the Lab 599 is connected. We're going to go see if we can find some signals, and we're going to do our best to do an A-B comparison. Now, the problem with the A-B comparison here is that because they don't have their own speaker, I can't just kind of split the difference with a microphone in between them. So I have to line out each one of them to the best of my ability. So there's going to be a couple of seconds as we switch, but you'll get the idea as we start working around it. Hopefully, it all makes sense. All right? Okay. I am looking at the chat. If you at Ham Radio Crash Course or say question, I will see them. But let's see how we do. We're going to go ahead and turn on the microphone here, and we're going to go poke around a little bit. I don't think there's any action going on in 10 meters, but why not start there? What the heck? All right. That's about max. There we go. Okay, we got our connection, so we should be good. We're kind of actually looking for those far-off stations, and it's going to be a little bit better. Here's a signal. Not what I want, though. We can always go to some of the higher bands. I've just been in love with hanging out on 10 meters, so. Yeah, the pan adapter, and this is a pan adapter, not a waterfall. It does make them a little bit easier for finding signals, but it's not required. In this case, I'm barely even looking at it. I'm kind of just looking at the chat and scrolling along. Where'd they go? All right. Well, I tried. All right, we're going to go up. So, to go up band, we just click the band button. Wrong way. We're going to go low. Let's go to 20. Mode. Yeah, it's connected for testing purposes. It's just a little dongle. All right, so I went with this kind of low-ish signal station. I'm now going to quickly change, so give me 1 second, to the KX2 here. And then I'll show you the accessories I'm battling with. That's about max output. Remember, this is a non-amplified speaker, so it's going to... Whoop. Less noisy. That's true, Don. I agree. But also, I'm not hearing the station as well. Now, I don't have the preamp on or anything like that. These are pretty far off signals, but... Let's look for somebody else. Oh, God. Yeah, the KX2 has the numbers displayed down here. I'll show you as we get a little bit further along. We're going to do this receiver test thing, and then we're going to go look at the interface. See, that's part of the problem too, is I keep overdriving it, and that's what's leading to that interference you're getting. So it actually sounds better off the internal speaker as far as hearing the station.
Charlie 4, Zulu Uniform Alpha, good afternoon, 5-3 Colorado, Kilo 1211, over.
There, that's better.
Germany 5, Delta Whiskey Sierra.
There you go, now we should get some quality. Sorry. Stop farting.
Good afternoon, 59 Colorado, Kilo 1211, over. QSL, you're 59 plus in Central Texas. Appreciate the park.
Oh, I got a park activator. Okay, let's switch the... Back to the Discovery. Okay, all the cables are there. We go. Got the cables all straight.
54 Colorado, Kilo 1211. Over.
Roger, Roger. Thanks for the call. You're 59 into Mike Sugar, the native
Thank you, Steve.
Hey, somebody stopped on you there. I called Barbara. What's the state signal report? Over.
All right, you get the idea.
We got 59 Mike Sugar. Got it that time. I appreciate you hunting this afternoon. 73.
I'm literally drowning in accessories right now.
Hey,
Okay.
folks, I'm going to have to wrap it up here. I got to tear down before they shut down the park. I know there's a lot of you out there. I apologize that I didn't get to you.
Yeah, so my thought is that the KX2 sounds slightly better, but it's quieter. Which, if I can copy the human on the other end when I'm doing portable, that's usually more important to me. Let's do a noise kind of bare minimum test. We're gonna do a receiver sensitivity test, and then we'll play around with some of the other modes. And I'll show you the interfaces on both of these again, because I think that's likely worth the wait to go. All right. So doing this is pretty straightforward. We're going to use our friend, the Tiny SA here. We're going to do the Lab 59 first because it's plugged in. I have a attenuator to a BNC connector. Okay. All right, what's the frequency of operation? 14,280. And we're going to tune slightly off. Okay, so we're kind of listening to the upper sideband. Okay, you're copying that noise, hopefully. All right, now we're going to start attenuating. Sorry, you're just going to have to listen to the noise. So what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to add attenuation, or I'm going to decrease the transmit. Right now, it's at negative 17 dB with a 40 dB attenuator on. So let's go down.
I know for a fact them radio waves is harmful.
Call that 60 dB. So that's negative 100 dB into the noise. Please use 1 kilohertz test tone. Is that not what I'm on? It's a 1000 hertz tone. That's what it's on. See? Okay, you can still hear it at negative 100. Still hear it? Pretty good. Let's keep going. That's where I start to lose it. So now we're negative 78 dB down. Yeah, right. Yeah, please follow all of my videos for your guidance on receiver sensitivity testing. No, this is just a do it in your own shack type of approach. Now, the good thing here is that we're testing both radios against the same very, very serious and accurate calibrated testing equipment. So it is an apples to apples test at least. So, all right, we can go a little bit further until it's gone. So we're at negative 78.4. I pretty much lose it at negative 85. Yep, Okay, let's go back up. Oop, now I really did it. Okay. Now let's switch it back. Oh, let's capture that. It was negative 85. Hold on. Hold up. Hold up. So that was 40, so that was 125 dB. Pretty good. Pretty good. Cyborg, have a brew on me. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. No brews today, though, because I'm trying to be accurate and the best of my abilities. Thanks for doing what you all. Thank you, Steven. I already said thank you, but I saw it was on the list still, so I hadn't clicked it. Thanks. All right, now we're on the KX2, or we'll be here shortly. And away we go. Gonna switch over the connector too. See, I don't like doing it on this. We're gonna go back to the speaker. And we're gonna turn off frequency a little bit. Okay. All right, now start going down the list here. Negative 75, still in there. We lost the TX-500 on negative 85. Still there. Not. Still there. Negative 85. Pretty much gone. Where'd it go? Oh, I bumped it. All right, hold on. We got to go back. We got to do that again. There we go. We start getting into that noise, man. Yeah, I start to lose it around 80. This is true. This is true, of course. And we do have the filtering pretty open. It is on single sideband right now. Okay. I put that at about negative 80. Okay, we'll do it again. Somebody had a comment. Use the exact same frequency. All right. Still there. Yeah, I lose it right around 81 or 82. I already did the 705 video, Larry. If you set external gain to -40, it will correct for the attenuator. Tell me how to do it if you know how to do it, Austin. I wasn't able to figure that out on the... Doesn't matter, you can add 40, but appreciate it if you do figure it out. Or join the after chat and you can tell me there. All right. I got about negative... I got about... What do you think? Negative 82. So that's negative 122. Just a data point. Nobody freak out. I'm not saying get one over the other. I like them both. All right. All right. So, question. TX-500 specs mentions 3-band audio adjusts in this some kind of like a parametric. Possibly. You'd have to go look that up. It's probably not something I'm going to do live right now, but maybe. And also, the KX2 also offers an equalizer, and I can show you a little bit that as well. What stylus? It's just the dongle or the little doingus that comes with the Tiny Ultra. It's basically just a guitar pick with a hole. All right. You've done your job for now. Tiny SA. Good job. I'm going to get the KX2 off of here for a second so I can make a point. And again, this is not me dogging on either one of these radios. I like them, but this is just the reality of the whole thing. All right, so here's the Lab 599. Put the antenna back on here for you. All right, so it comes with this digital adapter because you do need the adapter plug for the firmware upgrades. It has a Morse code connector for your key, which I have connected. It comes with a microphone, but I've found that also in the box it has this, and thank you everybody for pointing this out, it has a PTT switch, and it has 2 microphone and speaker connectors to one dongle here. Now, I can use the K6ARK microphone on both these radios when configured for the KX2. So you can still key this guy and using the PTT, and you can use it. I'm going to go on a dummy load really quick so I can show you that. All right. Kilo. Where are we at? We're on there. Good. On the dummy load. Kilo India 6 November Alpha Zulu test. Where are you at? Helps if it's on the microphone plug. Kilo India 6 November Alpha Zulu test. Oh, I'm the wrong one. Get out of there. Kilo India 6 November Alpha Zulu test. Yep. On the dummy load, all good there. So that's that. You have my headphone that I pack if I want to use that microphone. But it does come with a microphone, which again needs that connector, which I take as well. And then lastly, if I want to do digital modes, I would take the DigiRig. That's the recommendation. And this is the wire bundle for doing digital, because you need to be on both the data and the speaker and mic connection. So you plug both these in to the speaker and mic, and you plug it into your DigiRig, and that's how you get on digital. So that's kind of like the package you'd need to take if you wanted to take this with you. And again, you could be doing one or the other, right? You may not need this microphone mess. You may just need a headphone and a key, right? And that's great. If you just want to do Morse code, that's fine. Or maybe you're only going to do single sideband. Maybe you're not going to do digital at all. That's fine too. Just keep in mind, you may have to like build up or pare this down. Now, with that said, I like the menu options a little bit better here. I find this radio is a bit easier to use than the KX2. At least if I put it on the shelf for a couple of months and I come back to it, this is generally an easier radio to use. Band up down button. Again, KX2 is similar, but I'll explain what my issue is. Mode of operation, easy to flip. Filter. It does have filtering as well. You can adjust it. So if you want to go in here and adjust down your bandwidth filter, that is totally fine. You can do that. If you are on a mode, let's change the modes here. Okay, let's go to CW, for instance. And you can change your bandwidth on that as well for filtering, which is nice. And again, easy. You just hold the button down, and there you go. Pretty straightforward. Now, the menu, there is a menu, and it has these up-down things for notch filters, noise blanker, the level, all that stuff, and you can go through the whole list. And yes, it does have different controls for audio gain, all that fun stuff. Easy. But you predominantly don't mess around with that so much. You use these two left-right buttons to go arrow through things like AGC, your AB split for the dual band setup. Here's where I had the RF up, back, there we go. For your preamp or attenuator, there you go. Pretty easy. That's probably the easiest factor for the use of this. You could walk away from it and pick it up really easy. You don't even really need to mess with a lot of stuff over here. You can, but I seldom do. And then you've got gain control and RIT if you need that for CW, which I seldom use. All right. Let's see. Okay, looking at the chat. Remember, you can @ Ham Radio Crash Course, or you can say question in your question, and I will see it as a highlighted entry. Let's do a audio output test. So here is the flip side of this guy. What do we got? Yeah, I got a couple of minutes. Let's do the KX2, and then we'll come back and try and do an audio output test. Let's bring the KX2 back in here. Now, KX2 time. Can you do like all the things you kind of want to do that you might want to do on a base station? Yeah, absolutely. KX2 will do that, pretty much, in a nice portable package. The problem, and here's the problem. Oh, it helps if it's plugged in. I normally am always running this off of internal power, so there's no battery in it to test for power output. So this is your user control space, if you will. What you're probably going to do the most of is hit the band button and then scroll around the bands. That's what you're likely going to do the most. Find the band you want, and then you're going to go. Let me put this back on to an actual antenna. And then you're going to scroll around. Right? Not incredibly fast. You can use this guy to... Wait, there we go. You can use this to get a bit of fine-tune. This is just a single kilohertz space jump. But you can input manually if you hold down the frequency button. Anything that has a yellow overlay is a hold and press button. Now it's blank. So let's say I wanted to go to 14, 2, 5. So I got to hold the button down. Click it, 1, click it again. So I want to go to 14.255. Then I click the band button, and I jump over there. That's how you manually input, which is kind of nice. But a little kludgy. Now, for mode, so let's say let's go to upper sideman. Let's go down to 40. So it switched automatically, which was nice, but you got to make sure that you have that on. Mine didn't. Oh, wow. That's a loud signal. I'm not even, my antenna isn't even tuned up for 40 meters. That was pretty loud. I could hear him. Now, you will sometimes have to go in here, which is the deep menu. So if Yaesu has a deep F menu, the KX2 has a deep display menu. Hold it down. There you go. Now, this is where you're going to spend some time. These are all your menu options, and if you roll the VFO, it'll change the setting. I often find that I have to do a couple of things. I'll show you right now. I need the... No, that's not it. Yeah. Alt MD is... Come on. Where was it? It's lagging. This is what you change if you want it to auto go to USB or lower sideband, upper sideband. But the thing I end up changing the most, let me find it and I'll move on. By the way, that's the transmit EQ. So if you want to tune up your microphone, your transmit mic a little bit different, you would use this. There's your receive EQ. Also, it kind of moves quickly, so if you're not paying attention, you can jump over the menu option and you'd be like, oh, damn, I missed it. Where is it? I'm looking for... Oh, wait. No, that's not it. That's not it. Hand, okay. So here's where you would change... No, that's not it. See what I end up... Oh, yeah, that is it. That's your iambic setting. So when you want to do like a straight key, you got to make sure you do that. And then there's one more thing to turn the ATU or the automatic antenna tuner into bypass, which you have to do if you want to use something that, you just don't want to have the tuner on. So these will be things you'll have to remember how to do, which, I mean, people are leaving the live stream in record time as I start diving around in a deep menu. Can be a bit futzy. The good news is that most of the time you don't have to mess with this. You can go in here once or twice, and then you're kind of good to go. Oh. All right, enough of this. I think you get the idea. There it is, ATUMD. So if you slide this, not use, bypass auto. So now see the ATU light came on. I don't want that because I'm on my step IR. I want it in bypass. There you go. Anyway, now let's get out of there. You can also view things like your battery draw. That's the current battery. And if in CW mode, you can get a decode down here, which is nice, along with the zero beating, which is handy. Okay, there's that. Man, the thing with these videos is you can, even though I covered a lot of this stuff, or I pre-did the work here, you end up spending so much time. An hour just isn't enough for all this. Question, can you use digital with beginner ham license? On VHF, UHF, you can. But with Technician on 10 meters, for instance, you can do CW and single sideband. There you go. All right, what did I want to do next? Man, we ran out of time so fast. See, that's what I'm saying, guys. Trying to do this in an hour. Look, it's 6 o'clock already. We're already done. I want to show you, just for the funsies, this is the Elecraft mic, which is really good. By the way, so is the K6ARK mic. But, yeah. you may not have one over the other. I don't know. All right, I'm going to... Is this worth it? Because you could still just go in and do... You're going to have to mess with the parametric receive. Nah, let's skip that for now. Let's just take questions, and then we're going to go do the after chat. How's that sound? Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. Man! It's tough to get it all done in an hour. Couple of things I want to mention before we wrap up. Oh, no wonder. That's what's causing all this problem. Hold on. God. There we go. All right, much better. I like that retro look Elecraft. I do too. Again, I will say, let me go ahead and reiterate, both good radios. I like both of them. I have a place for every one of them. I'm actually quite impressed with the receiver capability on the Discovery. I think it does a skosh better. You might be like Adam and feel that, yes, it's a bit hotter receiver, but it's also a bit noisier, which I think that's probably true. My problem with the KX2 is it's always a bit quiet. So you almost always have to use earbuds when you use a KX2. For most of you guys, that's completely fine. But for, YouTubers who want to film stuff, record stuff, you want to have video on. So you got to have like an inline recorder, that kind of thing generally. No, I didn't get into CW for all you CW guys. This is probably the better radio. If you're CW minded, is that me talking with barely any CW? Yeah, it is. So, take that for what it's worth. But there's a reason why Adam owns this one and has experienced the Discovery, but doesn't use the Discovery as much as he would the 705, the KX2. Let me go to the website because it's going to take me forever here. All right. We already covered that. Okay. WinCamp is now selling side plates for the KX2, and I think they're probably a good thing to have if you want more of a ruggedized radio. I will say, again, Adam, he doesn't rock side plates on his. I have the heatsink ones because I sometimes do digital. Most often, I don't use KX2 for digital. I think the 705's pretty much conquered that territory. There is a company that makes the heatsink side plates, but they're sold out right now, so I'm not even going to mention them. Now, links are in the description. I got two things to mention here. Adam turned me on to this guy. This is the Low Pro case that I now use for the KX2. It's just a better case, way, way better case than the one that ships with the Shack-in-a-Box. It's smaller. You can pare a lot of it down. You usually don't need to bring all that stuff with the KX2. And then along with that, I have a recommendation for a case for the Lab 599. Now, this is a much tighter case for the Lab 599. It's super, super tight. So you have to be kind of cautious on how you put this all together. It goes in the bottom, and then you put like a mic or a key and like a power lead is pretty and your earbuds. No headphones. You'd have to have another bag for that. But this is handy because it's like $17, and so I got it for that purpose of just having something that I can leave the lap. It doesn't really need it, but I don't want to scratch the screen up. So I put the essentials in that case, and then that goes, wherever. It goes in my go bag right now, my actual disaster go bag. Hill People Gear medium kit bag. Ooh, hey, don't challenge me with a good time. I love Hill People Gear. What else? Oh, Gigaparts. If you're going to get either one of these radios, they both have digi-rigs that are available at the Gigaparts website. You get a discount, I think 10%, if you take my link in the description and use the code Josh. Digi-rig is probably the way to go for both these now. All right, back to the question. Hill People Gear medium kit bag. The way that is written is odd. Hill People gear medium kit bag. Better not be some... Oh, like a chest rig? Okay, I can see that. That's kind of cool. The thing with the chest bag is, like, I don't want to have the... The chest bag is supposed to be, like, something that's, like, the most often grabbed things. I'm not going to most often be grabbing a radio. I'm going to be most often grab, like, a snack and my phone and, like, first aid equipment and stuff like that. Yeah, you could definitely put one in there. That's probably good. Yeah. Sure. Why not? Why not? I love the colors, too. Oh, and then, yeah. So I was just showing... Wait, what was my bag? What was my little case? $17? You're like, no. You don't want that. You don't want that $17 bag. You want the $140 bag. That's what you want. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, exactly. My gun. That's what I'm most likely going to put in a chest harness like this. Right? Right. Yeah, go get your $140 bag. I love it, but there you go. Those are nice chest rigs. I agree. All right, last call for questions because I'm going to go get started on the after chat. Hey, what's the after chat? It's just like this, but we're live answering your questions. Anything. Doesn't have to be about these radios. It can be anything. We're going to talk about whatever you want. I know, my water bottle's going crazy with the green screen. All the Pro Audio Engineering KX2 heatsinks are in stock at the PAE. Are they? KX2 heat sink. Pro Audio Engineering. Let's see. Aha! Hey, that's not a bad price either. So there you go. Do they got the side plate too? Oh, they do. Okay, cool. Good Pro Audio Engineering. If you search KX2 side plate or KX2 heatsink, you only need this if you're going to do digital mode like a lot. And even then, you still gotta baby it a little bit. You're not supposed to go nutso on the 705 with digital. In fact, I wouldn't run digital on 10 watts. I'd only run it at 5. Yeah, definitely first aid in your chest rig. And I'll wait for any toner Balfane to keep waiting. It's probably not going to be good either. Your best bet is Shagu right now. That's the closest, best Chinese available HF radio. They're actually pretty good. Jared, I'm not going to go back. I already covered it in the beginning of the show, in detail, actually. Cyborg Alien Ray, question, what's a good antenna to expand a GMRS radio to put outside? That's exactly the kind of thing you want to ask at the after chat, but I'll tell you, usually an external... Is it raining? Oh, shoot, I got stuff outside. I got to pull stuff in. Like my drill and stuff. I got to go, guys. I got to wrap things up here, and I'm going to go grab my stuff in the backyard, and then we're going to restart with the after chat. Come back, Cyborg Ray. We can go in more detail, but 440 base antenna, 440 megahertz base antenna is what you're going to be looking for. All right? Okay, kids. I hope that was helpful and fun and interesting. We're going to be back next week with a Patron Picks episode. But first, let's give a big thank you to all the Patron supporters. I am sorry I missed doing this last week. What a pain. I apologize. Yeah, it's seriously raining. Holy smokes. I got to go take care of that right now. I'm doing a video in the backyard, like an experiment video, and I haven't been able to finish it, so I got to get out there like right now. Let's sort that out. Yeah, take the link in the description for the Discord. We'll be back to do a bit of a live stream after chat, which means we're answering your questions. We want to hear you live on the air, or we'll take your text chat as well and try and help you out. Our whole goal is to get you on the air quickly and with less stress. That's our goal. All right? Let's see. I'm looking in the chat, not seeing. I think we got a lot of things covered. Sorry, there's only so much you can do in an hour. Leave comments for everybody watching this video with what I should go back and do a head-to-head on. Maybe we just do CW. Maybe we take the 705, the KX2, and the Lab 599 TX-500 and just do a CW-only live stream where we test out like how noisy the relays are, how noisy, QSK operation, that kind of stuff. Heaven's like, yes! The guy with the mountain topper, of course, as the avatar. Yes, of course, let's do that. I want to do that. 6100, I don't have a 6100. I did a review of one. I had issues with the one that I got, but it wasn't bad. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. I have to run in the backyard like ASAP. All right? Enjoy the memes. 73. See you in 15 or 20 minutes. Go ahead and join Discord. Gives you plenty of time to get in there. 73.